Broncos and Texans facing off in a high-stakes AFC battle that marks the most important game of the season yet. I feel like we say that each and every week. Thanks all so much for joining us quite a bit earlier than you're used to today for DNVR's Countdown to Kickoff. So glad you guys are here. And I am so thrilled for the very first time ever on this set in Studio A, live, former Broncos pass catcher Nathan Jackson. What is up, my friend? Thanks so much for being here.
Happy to be here with you guys. I've never been in this building. I've never been in this seat, and I feel pretty privileged. Thanks for having me.
First impressions.
It's really nice. You got a nice bar down there. This is a good setup up here. The chair's comfortable. You guys are super kind so far. It's fucking cool.
There it is.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah,
Let's get it out of the way.
We got an S-bomb within the first 60 seconds of the show. That is what we like. This is going to be so cool. We also
It's game day. It's like, you know, like when I was playing for the Broncos and I woke up on game day morning, like it was, you know, there was a lot of F-bombs going on.
Yeah.
In my hotel room by myself. It was exciting. I'd throw open the blinds. It would be like, let's fucking go. Like it's game day.
So are you like staring at yourself in the mirror? Like
A lot of
pre-game
that.
Talk?
A lot of mirror talk. Yeah.
I love the mirror talk. Also joining us today, of course, the man you all love to hate and hate to love.
Fair enough.
Henry Chisholm. Hank, how are you feeling? It's been a minute since I've seen you.
I'm feeling good. Montana. So I went to Montana. They they had their first playoff game after the bye last night. Played Delaware. Delaware's last ever playoff game because they're going up to FBS. Beat them in the snow. Beat them by like 30.
Wow.
I'm feeling pretty good. Like I woke up early this morning. I'm having the time of my life.
Quick shout out to Tom James already tuning in from London. What time is it in London? I guess this is actually a really nice game time for them. It's 8 hours.
They're happy today.
So it's what, 6 o'clock. You guys just had dinner. What's up,
It's
Tom?
time to play some football, mate. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
All right. Straight away.
Except for it's more like we're going to go down to Texas and we're going to play a little foosball today.
That is what it is.
Because it is the Broncos and Texans, and it's so funny that the NFL flexed this game to this early slot because they knew that they needed to get as many eyes on this game because it was going to be an important one. And it really, really is. I mean, this is both teams outside of the playoff picture, on the outside looking in, but the winner of this game obviously gets the tiebreaker. Indy right now, they have the tiebreaker in the conference over both these teams. So Broncos head into Texas, 3-point underdog. What is on the line here today, guys?
Well, there's a lot on the line. Because, I mean, right now the Broncos are tied for that last playoff spot. But because of the way the tiebreakers fall, I think it's the conference record right now. The Broncos are on the outside looking in. The Texans, though, they have the better conference record. They're sitting right there. So, obviously, tiebreaker doesn't come into play after today because one team will have the better record. But these conference games, especially against teams that you could be tied with at the end of the season, they're massive. Like we could look back on this game and say this is why the Broncos did or didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think for the Broncos, they just got to focus on themselves and not you know. People are talking about, is it a must-win? I think every game you got to approach it that way, and these guys are. But you look at the beginning of the season. I mean, there's zero expectations for the Houston Texans, right? They've been a bad team year in and year out, so this is a surprise for them. The Broncos are always expected to do good things, even though they haven't for the last 6 or 7 years. Everyone always expects the Broncos to be good. This is a better franchise. Sean Payton is the more experienced coach. And I know both of these guys were, possible head coaches for the Broncos, and both of them were possible head coaches for the Texans. They're very different teams. It just kind of shows you that you can win football games in different ways. The Broncos are 6-5, the Texans are 6-5, but they play very different brands of football. And it's going to be interesting to watch these two offenses go toe to toe, and how if Russell tries to outduel CJ Stroud, because you don't have to do that, Russ. You got to stick to the game plan. The Broncos are going to try to lean on these guys, but it's a really big game. 5 wins in a row, though. If they lose it, it's not the end of the world. I hate to say that, but if they lose, it's not the end of the world. They're still on a nice run. But going on the road and beating the Texans there and cooling them down and coming back 6 straight would be a huge boon for this team.
Okay, I do have to point out, while it wouldn't be the end of the world, the odds drop dramatically if the Broncos lose this game. PFF put it out earlier this week that if they win the game, it's a 64% chance that they make the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Correct?
Where do they get these percentages? Anyway?
I don't know, but that's
Sometimes
why,
I call PFF.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, well, their game grades are lame. Can we just all agree that the game grades are lame?
They struggle with some of those. There's a couple things they're good at, like the snap counts or like
I like that.
zone or man cover,
Right.
like anything that's hard.
Yep.
But outside of that, yeah,
Because the
can't trust
football
them.
play is so chaotic and there's so many moving parts. So there's 11 guys with specific jobs.
Right.
If one guy sort of doesn't do his job right, and they might not know what his job is, so they don't know that he didn't do his job right. But that affects every other dude, and so the guy on the opposite side of the field looks like an idiot
Yeah.
because this guy fucked it up on the other side.
Exactly.
Right? And so the PFF downgrades this guy, but it's not that guy's fault.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so Sean Payton last year, he was talking about how he came in and watched the film of the Nathaniel Hackett offense, and it was hard for him to evaluate it because he didn't know what they were being taught.
Right.
So he didn't know how to grade anybody. Sean Payton didn't know how to grade him. So how's PFF supposed to know how to grade these guys? So there's some things they do well, but a lot that they kind of speculate on.
I have a feeling somehow, though, they were able to get the playoff chances correct. 64% chance of making the playoffs if the Broncos win this game today, and a 21% chance if they lose.
Wow.
You guys, that is
But let me
obviously
ask you this,
dramatic.
though. What was their percentage when they were 1-5?
Oh my gosh, it was like 3%.
Right.
It was even lower, I think.
It changes.
And here they are.
It
You know what
changes.
I
They
mean?
are.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
NFL puts them out as well. But it's weird how like every site actually has a different percentage. So
Yeah.
it's like, so what is it actually?
Yeah.
Let's go.
There's so many. Well, like ESPN, for example, they don't weight more recent games more heavily than the previous games.
Oh.
So, like, when you look at their rankings for defenses, they say, like, the Broncos have the 28th defense in the NFL just based on
right.
whatever EPA per play, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
Because they gave up 70 points to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
This isn't the same defense.
Right.
And so when they
Right.
say the Broncos sitting there at, like, 16% or whatever,
Yeah.
that's why.
Well,
They're all different.
Speaking of the Broncos defense, big challenge here today because arguably, the most important position in all of sports, quarterback. This defense is going up against the offensive rookie of the year in CJ Stroud. What has been so magical about this guy's season? Because, I mean, he is lights out so far in his NFL career.
Yeah, it just goes to show you it's very difficult to anticipate how a quarterback's going to play in the NFL based on what he did in college. Bryce Young was everybody's number one pick, right?
Yep.
And he looks bad. He looks
Yeah.
tiny. He looks like a JV quarterback out
Right.
there. But CJ Stroud has a better arm than him. He looks more poised in the pocket. He looks more comfortable as a leader. So when you're putting your faith in like a 22-year-old kid to come and lead a group of jaded professional football playing men
Right.
and get them on the right track, that's a lot to put on a guy's shoulders. You don't know what his character's like and if he's prepared to do that. But I think Demeco Ryans, having him, a young guy, a lot of energy, helps CJ Stroud a lot. But man, he's second in the league in yards per game.
Right.
Yeah.
People are actually talking about CJ Stroud as an MVP candidate. It's pretty crazy. And he's been able to carry that momentum. I think he's got 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, something like that. So he throws for over 100 yards more per game than Russell Wilson.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But CJ Stroud, so impressive.
Yeah, and like you said, he's been able to avoid turnovers. I think he has the lowest interception percentage of any quarterback
Yep.
in the NFL, but he threw 3 picks against the Cardinals 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I was asking, Alex Singleton and Pat Surtain, all those guys, like what happened in that game? And the one thing that they all kind of said was that the Cardinals changed up the coverages a bunch. They didn't play the same coverage over and over and over again. It was cover 2, cover 3, then you're buzzing somebody down, then you're playing whatever. So you wind up just giving him so many different looks and making him make the right decision over and over and over again. Again, like I think it's 4 or 5 interceptions on the season. Odds are you're not getting a bunch from him, but I do think that's kind of the starting point is don't give him easy looks, see if you can confuse him and hope that he makes those mistakes again.
And that's exactly what Todd Davis said earlier this week. He said, give him actually the exact same look so his pre-snap reads. Everything looks the same for him.
Yeah.
And then once the ball is snapped, then he has to make those decisions because everything changes.
And no human being likes to get hit.
Yeah.
Put him
Yeah.
on
True.
his ass.
Yep.
Attack the quarterback. And
Yeah.
the Broncos have been able to force, crazy amounts of turnovers
Yep.
lately. Is that sustainable? Probably not. They're not going to win the turnover battle every single week.
Right.
But the thing about, this team, and it is a team, and the offensive philosophy allows the defense to stay fresh. And when they get on the field, they're able to attack. And because the offense grinds it out, because
Yep.
they do run the football. I mean, they're running the ball at a 2-to-1 clip. They're, owning the time of possession, the defense gets to get their win back and then go out there and attack. And so if they're able to attack C.J. Stroud, yes, he's playing very well, but he's a rookie. He's a rookie.
Yep.
He hasn't seen all these combination coverages and stuff. So get in his head, get him on his back, get him to start feeling a little boo-boo, maybe get him a little Band-Aid, and then maybe he'll force those. Maybe they'll force some turnovers.
Exactly, because I mean the Broncos, like you said, they want to like stay on schedule.
Yeah.
You know, get those short third downs. The Texans haven't had a lot of short third downs because they're throwing the ball so much.
Right.
It's either complete for first down or it's short.
Yeah.
They throw the ball farther downfield than just about any other team in the NFL. So you wind up with these longer third downs that they're converting over and over again. So I totally agree. Like when they want to throw the ball deep, send extra rushers, make sure they don't have time to let those plays develop. And you know that could help bail you out from some young pass rushers who have been a little bit streaky if you just send a fifth or a sixth or whatever and help them out a little bit.
And you got Justin Simmons, who's a ball hawk. He's got good hands. You got Patrick Surtain, who's a ball hawk. He has good hands. There's a lot to be said for DBs who have good ball skills. You know, we used to say that a DB was just a receiver who couldn't catch.
Right.
Right. But these DBs could be receivers. They have really good hands. They take that stuff seriously. Some of these interceptions, I mean, that Justin Simmons is having, he's having to make catches.
Yeah.
And so they attack the ball like a receiver. And if they're able to force some bad throws with some pressure on C.J. Stroud, I see some opportunities for interceptions.
Well, speaking of receivers, C.J. Stroud has some damn good ones, and Tank Dell and Nico Collins. Specifically, Tank Dell, they have a connection that is uncanny right now. He has over 700 receiving yards. He has 7 receiving touchdowns this year, the most among all rookies. He's averaging over 70 yards a game. I mean, he's about to set some records there for the Houston Texans, which, like, isn't that hard to do? They've really struggled as an organization as a whole since 2020.
Although they did have DeAndre Hopkins.
They did have
That's true.
Hopkins.
Yeah.
So as a receiver, everybody has to beat those Hopkins records. But when you guys see Tank Dell and Nico Collins out there, what concerns you about what the DBs are up against this week?
Yeah, I mean, when you have dynamic receivers like that, I mean, both of those guys are on pace to have a 1,000-yard season.
Yep.
These DBs are excited about this challenge.
Yep.
They get excited about that. And these guys are, young DBs. I'm sorry, they're young receivers. They're small. Patrick Surtain's a big physical corner. He wants to put hands on this guy. They want to beat them up. So, and I know Kareem Jackson's not back there, but these guys have been aggressive. They've been hitting hard. The challenge, or what they need to do, is hit these guys and make them pay for every catch they make, okay? Don't let them step out of bounds. Don't let them hit the ground without taking some punishment.
Right.
And so the first guy hits him, wraps him up. The second guy comes in and tries to strip that ball out. So it's not just going to be a track meet out there. We are going to make you pay for that stuff. And we have to attack C.J. Stroud, not give him all day in the pocket, because when he does, he's really able to pick these guys apart. And so I think it's a challenge these guys are really up for and excited to approach. And it could, but if they aren't, look, these guys are going to make some plays on you, and you have to accept that, hey, they're going to make some big plays. So we, as an offense now, I'm talking about the Broncos offense, they have to make plays as well. This might be a different style of game than they're used to playing. They might have to air it out. Russell might have to unleash the cannon and throw deep to these guys. And so I know these DBs for the Broncos are licking their chops, excited to play these receivers and try to slow them down.
And they don't have Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
Who's a great pass-catching tight end who just keeps getting better. Gave him a lot of money this offseason. And so I think that they could be running 4 receivers out there. And you don't see that very often in the NFL, where they put 4 receivers on the field. But you look at it, they've got Nico Collins and Tank Dell. They also have Robert Woods, who started every game, 326 yards. Noah Brown has 439 yards, more than him. He's back from injury. He did all of that in 5 games. John Mechie is their number 5 receiver. You have to think that they want to at least get him on the field occasionally. They've got so many guys that they can run out onto the field that I'm kind of curious to see if they just go kind of like air raid spread offense, especially because they don't have Dalton Schultz.
And, they say styles make fights, right? And these are very different offenses philosophically. Bobby Slowick is running this offense. He comes from the Shanahan tree. But the Shanahan tree focuses more on the running game, and so he's kind of branched off, and he's catering to the special, to the skills of his players, and that's what you're supposed to do. But this running game isn't very good. It's actually near bottom third in the league. They average under 100 yards per game on the ground, and so it's a dangerous philosophy, right? You can get out ahead of yourself and put your defense in a bind, because they're off they're back on the field pretty quickly after that. So it'll be interesting to see if this defense can slow these guys down.
I'm curious what you think of the other side of the ball, because the Texans' run defense is one of the 10 best in the NFL. Yep. Their pass defense is one of the 10 worst.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we know what the Broncos like to do. They like to run the ball. They like to grind the clock, and they haven't been throwing the ball as much. Do you think the Broncos should try to kind of cater what they do to fit the Texans defense, try to throw the ball more, stick to their own identity?
Yeah, so this is the conversation that this coaching staff was having all week.
Yeah.
On Monday and Tuesday when they put the game plan together. It's not just about what we do well. It's also about where the vulnerabilities are in our opponent. You're studying film all week long, trying to find an edge. That's what Sean Payton does. He loves to sit up in his office and put on the black light and burn some candles. And he says he puts the candles right together. They have to be touching.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you read that?
Yeah.
really?
That Seth
He's a crazy
Wickersham
guy.
piece.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, he likes to turn on, dim the lights, put on a black light or a lava lamp or something, and some
Okay.
smoke in the room, I think.
Okay.
But he likes to sit there and watch film and wait to see something that's going to give him an edge. And what is that on the Houston Texans defense that's going to give him an edge? It could be some downfield passing. Look, Sean Payton loves to air the ball out. Look at his time with Drew Brees, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they scored 816 touchdowns in his time there. He wants to throw the ball down the field, but Russell hasn't presented him with enough confidence to be able to do that. However, Russell's taking the check down a lot, right?
Yep.
But there are guys running
They're
who
open.
he can
Absolutely.
throw it to if he wants.
Yep.
And at practice, he does throw them to them.
He does.
He checks it down in the game because that's what's available to him and that's what he feels comfortable with. At some point, the defense is not going to force 3 or 4 turnovers in a game, and he's going to have to go blow for blow with an offense that's putting up 35. And that could be today.
It could be.
And if that's the case, you're going to have to throw it down the field to Courtland.
Right.
You're going to have to throw it down the field to Jerry. You're going to have to throw it down the field to Marvin. And that's a good thing for those receivers, because I've been in those receivers' rooms before. Those guys want to eat too.
Yeah.
They're happy they're winning, for sure. But they want to catch some footballs.
Yeah.
Those guys love to catch the ball. That's why they're out there, So you got to feed those guys as well, and today might be the day that happens.
I know. I was looking at Russell Wilson's stats, and it's so funny when you look at them because they feel so padded to me. As much as he is doing exactly what Sean Payton is asking him to do, he's playing efficient football, but it's padded to me because he's not taking those deep shots. He's not putting this team in a position to win big yet. They're winning small right now.
Yep.
So I think this week is going to be really interesting to see how Russell Wilson approaches this game. And right now, Russell Wilson obviously is starting in this matchup, but the Ben DiNucci call-up confused the hell out of Twitter last night. Everybody was like, why is this happening? Everybody has a theory.
Yeah.
I'll start. Mine is that Sierra's about to go into labor. I feel like Sierra's about to have the baby, and they want to be ready just in case Stidham has to go in. If something happens with him, then we have Ben up.
Exactly.
And because Russ is obviously possibly on a plane coming back to Colorado. Theories?
At some point, that has to happen, right? Like, Sierra's going to have that
She's
baby.
going to burst. Have you seen
Yeah, but
her
what's more
lately?
important, your family or football, man?
I know.
You got to be there. What would you miss the game? Or they already got 3 kids. Like, you've done this before.
It's hard as a quarterback.
Are you even excited?
It's hard
You're
as a
not giving
quarterback.
birth. What are you going to be doing?
That's
Come on,
true. I
Sierra,
mean-
you got this.
Yeah, yeah. If you're the second string running back, maybe looking
Then you
through the
can
game
definitely
off.
get out of it.
Yeah.
You're not needed.
But when you're Russell, I feel like Sierra is supportive. Where
Definitely.
she would be like, no, babe, you play the game. I'll
Yeah,
hold
for sure.
off.
For
But
sure.
any other
They got
theories?
a team
So-
of people who
can
help.
It's a weird thing because so they call him up because you have to call him up whatever a day or two before the game, but they don't have to decide who's active until this morning, and so they don't wind up giving him the uniform.
Yeah.
So you wonder if that could be a thing.
Well,
like,
the active list is probably out now.
yeah,
it out?
and he's
He's
inactive.
He's inactive.
He is
Okay, so-
inactive.
Okay.
It
So-
was so last night on Twitter was just so much fun because
Definitely.
everybody's like, what is happening
But-
with Benny Boo?
And I wonder if they called him up because somebody else was interested
Maybe it's a
in him.
Jared Stidham issue. Maybe he had,
Yeah.
maybe he's had an injury at practice, or he's doing something. He's not, performing at a high level,
Yeah.
or something like that. And it's also, I mean, this is he's inactive, so this is probably doesn't apply. But maybe Sean Payton is changing the game plan, and he does think that maybe he's going to put Russell more at risk this game. And
Wow.
But he did run the ball like 11 times last year.
But
so
maybe
he's banged up a little bit. You know?
Yeah, or
maybe
you
they're
see
both
that
banged up.
and say you want to like keep doing it.
Yeah,
like it
or maybe
works
he
so
just
well.
wants to fuck with us.
That is probably the most likely answer. It is Sean
because
Payton.
we brought it up on the pregame show.
Exactly.
I mainly brought it up just because I loved the Twitter reaction last night. It was so fun.
Definitely.
Everybody's like, wait, this guy was actually on our practice squad? Like, wait, what is he doing?
What
Is he
kind of
still
reaction
around?
did you get?
It was no one could figure out why Ben would be called up.
It's just such a strange thing to do when you haven't done it all season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if somebody was trying to sign him.
I think, that
That could be, yeah.
And so they said, like, here, take this game check and we'll figure it out next week.
Yeah.
And that's a nice game check to go from practice squad to active.
Oh, yeah,
Have fun.
yeah, you've done that.
I mean, I got activated the last game of the year, my rookie year. I was on practice squad as a receiver the whole year. The very last game of the year, we were playing in Green Bay, and we had the playoffs locked up, so we were resting some guys, and so I got activated. Green Bay had to win to make the playoffs, and so we went into Lambeau Field, with a bunch of backups playing, and they had to win. It was a crazy atmosphere, and they did beat us. They whooped our ass. Amon Green had like 2 85-yard touchdown runs, and they made the playoffs, and we the next week went into Indy and got our asses kicked by Peyton Manning. That was 2003. 2004, we also went into Indy and got our asses kicked by Peyton Manning in the first round of the playoffs. It was deja vu. 2005, we were on a collision course with them again. They lost there to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Pittsburgh Steelers came here for the AFC Championship, and we got our ass kicked by the Steelers.
Yep. I remember
One game away from the Super Bowl, and we didn't make it. And then the next 3 years after that, Jake Plummer got benched, Jay Cutler took over, and
yeah, we had Plummer on the show when we were in Arizona for the Super Bowl this year.
Cool.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's was he
Quite
he
literally,
this way?
he's a fun guy because he's into mushrooms.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
he
He
is.
was was into mushrooms that week
No,
too.
he owns a mushroom company called Umbo, and he sells mushrooms to edible, like not hallucinogenic mushrooms, but functional mushrooms they call them, to restaurants around Denver, and they you might have eaten some of those mushrooms.
A Jake the Snake shroom?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, and you didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
Was he this chill back then?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah?
I mean, not quite. No.
Okay.
No, because there's a tension when you're the quarterback of the Broncos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was sometimes at odds with. He's an anti-establishment guy.
He sure is.
And if you're the quarterback of the Denver Broncos, you kind of have to be sort of establishment. And there are expectations about how you're going to act, how you're going to talk. And for Mike Shanahan as his coach, how you're going to play, how you're going to read this play, how you're going to study, how you're going to care about the game. Jake Plummer doesn't care about the game the same way Mike Shanahan cares about the game. It doesn't mean he doesn't care about it. He plays instinctively. He plays free. He's a wild man. He's like a mountain man. And Mike Shanahan was by the book. It was about studying. It was about getting an edge, like I talked about knowing every little thing about your opponent, every little thing in this playbook, every little thing in this film session. And Jake was not that type of player. So there was always this tension between him and Mike. And then there was some tension between him and the fans. Like, you remember he got caught flipping off the fans behind him.
So funny.
Because, they were talking shit to him. And when we're sitting on the sideline, you can hear everybody talking shit right behind you. And they were booing Jake. Sometimes we would win and they would boo Jake. We would win like 13-6, and the crowd would be like, "We want points. We don't care about win." Well,
Is
we care
Russell
about
Wilson getting the same treatment
a
right
little
now?
bit, a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just too
Too
nice
kind.
to flip off the
Exactly.
crowd. But in his mind, he's like, "Fuck you guys."
Well, the thing
is
is,
he? I don't know.
Shanahan has whatever differences of opinion with Jake Plummer. It's not like Jay Cutler was the super by the book, like know everything about the defense sort of guy either.
Well, he was really smart on the whiteboard. Jay was. He was really good mentally. He picked things up very fast. He understood the playbook. He had a rocket arm, very athletic. The problem was he couldn't relate to people. He wasn't a good locker room guy. He wouldn't even look you in the eye. When he met you and he would and you said, "Hey Jay," he'd be like, "Hey." He wouldn't ask you where you're from or about your family or how you are. And when you're a leader, you have to do those things, man. You got to be cool. You don't have to step outside of yourself and not be yourself. But Jay had a hard time as a leader by the way he was raised and just the kind of guy he is. He was just it just didn't work.
Yeah.
It's a chemistry set. It's not just about your skill, man. It's about how you mesh with the other guys and how you come together as a family. And that was the struggle with Jay and what Jake was really good at. He was beloved by our team. Everybody loved Jake. Everybody, because he laid it on the line. And when the defense wasn't doing good, he'd go up over there and be like, "It's all right, guys. We got you guys. We got you." Whereas when the defense wasn't good and Jay was a quarterback, he'd be like, "Come on, guys." come on. You know?
That is the face he made too. Yeah.
And when your quarterback's doing that all the time, it's come on, dude. Like, what are we doing here, man? We're a team. All right.
It's safe to say that Russell Wilson is not that guy.
He's definitely not that guy. No.
But we can all agree this week there is a chance we're going to have to see him take some deeper shots, which I'm looking forward to. I'd like to see vintage Russ air it out a little bit. I think it might potentially be a really big game for a guy like Courtland Sutton. I'd love to see Jeudy actually get targeted this week a little bit more. Like anytime Jeudy's on the field, he poses a threat, which I think every defense has to respect. But on the defensive side for the Denver Broncos, given this streak that they're on with these takeaways, they're doing it. They're not just like picking guys off. They are playing physical football. They are forcing fumbles. They are recovering them. They are hitting guys in the open field and making them pay. Good news is we've seen guys this week at least not get fined for the penalties that they took. PJ Locke, Baron Browning. I mean, when you think of guys like Nick Bonito, I mean, he was playing lights out last week as well. They're winning the physicality aspect of this game. Did you hear that? You probably did, because Pat Surtain mentioned that Sean Payton gave them all bats last week prior to the game, that it was going to be a dogfight, it's going to be a battle, so they gave them all bats. So he is putting this mentality in this defense so that they are the most physical team in the league. When you hear fans say that this defense is dirty, what comes to mind?
You want to go first? I'll go first. I mean,
he's like, I'll go.
You want to go? No,
you go.
So football is fucking dirty. You are attacking one another and trying to hit each other as hard as you can. Okay, there is no soft or easy way or clean way to play the game of football. Yes, you have to play within the rules, but the ethos of the game have always been: make that guy feel it. Punish this team every time they catch the ball or touch the ball. You want them to feel it. It's the most physical and aggressive teams that win football games. It's a violent game. That's why we get into it. Players know that. They know that they're signing up for the violence. They don't want you to protect them. And when you do pretend that the refs can protect you, you actually make yourself more vulnerable because you stop protecting yourself.
Completely.
Okay. So there's a contradiction of terms when the style of play that's actually effective is the one that's getting you fined and penalized. The Broncos defense is playing at a very high level right now because of that mentality that you just talked about, where Sean Payton's giving them bats. If the league is also fining him for that, Sean Payton's going to take that fine. He's going to say, go ahead, I'll pay that fine. You guys keep doing what you're doing because they're playing lights out, and that's the key to good football. I know everybody in that locker room believes in what they're doing. Everybody who puts on a helmet understands that they're at risk when they step between the lines. And anybody who thinks the ref is going to protect them out there is mistaken and actually putting themselves in more danger. To me, it's about protecting players after they get hurt and giving them adequate health care after they're injured, and not forcing them back on the field before they're ready. But out on the field to play, it's supposed to be violent. That's why people come to the game. That's why they have those big mics on the sidelines so they can hear those bone-crushing hits. That's why people cheer. It's not just about the pretty quarterbacks back there. It's about the violence. And so I love that part of football, and I think most people do as well, and don't want to see that legislated out of the game.
Definitely. So like you said, Pat came on the show this week and told us all game. Basically, how it worked was the day before, so Saturday, Sean had, equipment staff, whoever it is, put bats in every player's locker. So like engraved, it says like Browns at Broncos. I think it has like the player's name. And the idea is like, this is going to be a physical game. Like most physical team is going to win. You better come with a bat. You better be ready.
Did.
Yeah. So they actually did this for the Raider game week 1. Didn't work out quite as well.
Really?
Yeah, but this has been a thing that Sean has done in the past. I talked to a couple of the guys who played for him in New Orleans, and even after he left, they kept doing it last year. They had like a couple bat games. So they've obviously taken on that identity. We can all see it. And then the whole Dirty Denver thing popped up.
I love it.
I do too. And
I love it.
I was talking to...
Because it's hilarious to me.
It is. I was talking to Alex Singleton on Friday, and I said, so like, what do you think of the Dirty Denver thing? And he said, I love it. Like, and I love that it's coming from Cleveland. Cleveland, like AFC North, those are supposed to be the tough guys. And now they're saying Dirty Denver, like, I mean, they're supposed to be the tough guys.
That's the loser's lament.
Exactly.
Right? Those are the guys who just got their asses kicked, saying that you're dirty because they got their asses kicked.
Exactly. So that's a vibe in the locker room.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to know what else I love?
Huh.
Breckenridge Brewery.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? I love Breck Brew. It's a little early for me to be sipping on a Broncos Country Pale Ale or a Fun Slinger, a Good Company Seltzer. Not yet, but I think I will after noon. I don't know how you guys feel about it. You guys have probably already cracked open your Breck Brew today. And I hope you have, because you know how tasty it is. They've been doing it for 32 years, and it all comes down to their love and passion for making really, really good brews. You guys can check out the beer locator at breckbrew.com to find a brew near you. They're available everywhere, it seems like.
Yeah.
Which is great because they're tasty. Some of my favorites.
Yeah, we're about to do this watch along, so be ready for that. We're actually going to stick. Up. I see 563 of you watching right now, so you should be hanging around because we're going to be doing this. Maybe not with this exact crew, depending on who wants to stay here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But we're going to be here hanging out, watching the game. So be ready for that also, because we're going to be drinking some Breckenridge beers.
What about our friends from Snarfs?
Friends from Snarfs, we love them as well. It might be a little bit late to get your party platter.
Too late, yeah.
Yeah, but at halftime, you could probably run over to Snarfs, grab yourself a halftime sandwich. They've got so much good stuff. They're like a Colorado staple. Many different kinds of sandwiches. I don't know what it is about them. I guess it's kind of like the crunchiness of the bread.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. But they're great sandwiches. So if you don't get them today, which you definitely should, come pick some up later. Also, I know 10 minutes to kick off. It's probably too late. We have a big party going on down there. We're giving away jerseys. We're giving away a snowboard, a Breckenridge Brewery Funslinger snowboard. It's going to be awesome. So come hang out. The Bet365 crew is here.
Yeah.
I would imagine they're hooking us up in some different ways, maybe some free bets.
It's going to be a huge watch
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Because he sent it in, I absolutely have to get to our good friend Zach Stevens.
Yes.
He has a quick update, probably from his house today. Let's see what cheesy beginning he had for his video. It's always good. Will you play that beautiful bean footage, yeah?
We've got a Christmas miracle here in Broncos country. Not only is it December and the Broncos are playing meaningful football, but after a 1-5 start, no one could have expected the 6-5 Broncos to be playing the 6-5 Texans, and it is a mess out here in Denver. There's snow, it's cold. Broncos don't have to worry about that. They are inside today at the NRG Dome in Houston, and a big thing, maybe a little concern in Broncos country yesterday when the Broncos elevated Ben DiNucci, backup quarterback, for the active roster for today's game, but no concern because Ben DiNucci is inactive, so maybe Sean Payton's doing him a solid by getting him a game check. But Russell Wilson, Jarrett Stidham are okay. They are going to be the quarterbacks for the Broncos today, so nothing to worry about there. Other inactives, J.L. Skinner, not a big shock with P.J. Locke back. And then Ronnie Perkins is inactive, and you might say, who? Well, what that means is you might see Drew Sanders playing more outside linebacker today, just like we saw last week. Drew Sanders actually had a really good game, so expect a little more Drew Sanders at outside linebacker. Russell Wilson will be playing, and this game just has massive playoff implications because not only does the winner leapfrog the other in the standings and have a 1-game lead, but it's essentially a 2-game lead in the standings because they'll also have that head-to-head win, which is going to be so big come the playoffs. So we'll see if the Broncos can get it done, and there's a chance by the end of tonight. There's another Christmas miracle with the Broncos having a playoff spot by the end of today. They need a couple of things to go right, but they need to take care of business first. Let's see if they can get it done.
Huge game, Zach. Thanks so much. To Isaiah, the reason why he's wearing a button-up shirt in the house is because he was coming here right after. Zach Stevens is literally right behind this TV, so I'll tell him you said that. Speaking of fits, really quick, just because this is Nate's first time on the show, I want to get his stylistic opinions on what these guys are wearing into the stadium today. What was your usual go-to road fit? Were you a suit guy?
Yeah, I was a suit guy.
Oh.
Suit guy, no tie. You know, kind of open collar, kind of, John Travolta a little bit.
Well, you were,
Saturday Night Fever.
He was a wide receiver. He was a pass catcher. Like, I get it. Like, you had to.
Yeah.
So you were playing 2003. That was like the
2003.
the famous like NBA draft where like LeBron's wearing like the baggy stuff.
Suits,
yeah. Were you wearing those baggy suits?
Sort of actually around 2007, 2008. I got a couple that were big, and I had to, bulk up to play tight end.
Oh,
and then I went to the wrong, like my buddy's Taylor, who kind of cut them big, and so they were already baggy. And then I stopped playing and I lost weight. I'm like, I cannot wear this. It's like, have you seen the movie Big?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he gets, he's like wearing his desk. It was awful. I had to donate those. But yeah, that was a weird time stylistically.
It was.
Yeah. Let's get the first one up here.
But there's some weird fucking fits now too sometimes.
Well, this one's not weird because Pat Surtain is always, in my opinion, the best dressed on the team. Next to
Justin
Justin
Simmons. He looks like an old
Simmons,
baseball player.
It's cute.
It's not cute.
It's cute. Am I that biased?
No, I mean maybe it's okay.
I think I am that biased. I just think Pat is.
I'm probably just gonna do this with these guys. I didn't like that one.
Wow.
You didn't like that
No.
one?
It reminds me.
Oh my
It
God.
reminds me of the bat game. Baseball. I gotta go with the strong.
I didn't
like
have that
that.
one. Don't
I
have
like
that one
that.
in
I guess
there.
we don't know. I doubt this is a bat
I think
game.
ours are. We all have a little bit of different ones.
Yeah.
Pat's it on the
Okay.
show.
Yeah. What's next? What's up, RG?
What's
Ryan
up,
Green
buddy?
in the host. Is this PJ Locke?
Oh
Those
no.
are cut off. Oh. It
He's
does
a-
look tough.
This
Looks like
is
he's in Motley Crue or something.
This is such a Texas boy fit, in my opinion.
Oh.
Like he clearly went to
that's right.
Texas. You know what I mean? Congrats to them on their W yesterday.
I don't know.
I'm just confused.
I'm going with the angry. He looks angry.
I don't
laughing.
know.
I'm laughing.
I
It
don't-
probably
I don't-
costs like it's $3,000.
Probably.
That's
the
the
funny-
T-shirt, that ripped
Yeah,
T-shirt
that ripped
with no
T-shirt.
sleeves
Like
is $3,000.
$1,200.
I
Congrats.
know. Yeah. What about the next one? Oh, here we go.
See,
Russell Wilson.
that's a little baggy too. That's a little bit of a baggy
What
suit.
is that? That's not
that
good
brown?
to us. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Is that brown with cream pinstripes?
He looks like he has cankles there. I don't know what's going on with Russell.
Kind of looks
I
like
don't-
pajamas.
not a fan.
I'm going with the
I am
sleep.
not a
No, that
fan
looks like
of that.
pajamas.
They looks
Yeah.
like pajamas.
I love Russ, and I usually love what he wears, but ooh, okay, that was a miss. Fire? So you think? Oh, damn.
That's sharp.
Yeah, like that.
As Todd Davis likes to say, can't hide money.
Can't hide money.
I think he's cold in a good way.
Cold in a
I think
good
he's
way.
hot in a good
Texas.
way.
Yeah.
He's so
in
cold that
Texas.
he's hot. It's just
I didn't have flames. I don't have flames. Last one for us, my guy.
Oh wow.
Fabian Moreau.
He dresses well.
no.
Oh.
What
Also, if you guys are trying to kill like 4 minutes, I wrote all about Fabian a couple days ago. It's at thedmvr.com.
Did
was
you
a
write about
4-minute
his
read?
fashion sense?
No, but I was noteworthy because I was talking to him like while he was getting dressed. I had,
Isn't it funny how you
sweatsuit.
talk to people while they're getting dressed?
It's always so,
So weird.
awkward. It's always
What do you do
so
with your
awkward.
eyes, you know?
Exactly. Dude, keep them up, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm
I'll
gonna
go-
go with the sleepy emoji on this one because I feel like this to me looks like something that I would like lounge around the house in and go to bed in.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that one.
Not a huge fan. This was not their best day.
I don't have one. That,
Yeah, I would agree.
This was
Yeah.
not their best day.
Yeah.
I think Justin always shows up. I personally love the baseball vibe because I feel like Pat is he's owning that mentality that Sean Payton is ingraining
Oh,
in
the
him.
bats.
You know what I mean? The
Look at
bats.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
He's
feel
got to
like that's
keep
what this
that in
is.
his like, pull it out.
I love it.
T.O.
Okay,
Yeah.
we only have a couple more minutes, guys. So really quick, I just want to get final keys to the game. The Broncos win this game if
Trick play works. Even if it's special teams.
Wow.
If you get like they haven't done much on special teams. Like the returns are going well, but like pull out your best pump block, pull out like something you've got drawn up for a big return, some sort of fake something, or it could be offensive. If you wanna do something tricky there, I think this is gonna be a high scoring game. I think you gotta steal some points, steal possession, something like that.
Yeah, to me, you got to dictate the terms. Okay.
Okay.
You don't start playing their game and try to go tit for tat with C.J. Stroud. You know, Russell Wilson has always wanted to be an MVP.
yeah.
And when he
Yes.
left Seattle, it was like, I want to go cook, man. I want to be MVP. I want to throw the ball. Russell, the formula is not for you to cook. It's for you to facilitate this offense. There's
Yeah.
going to be opportunities for him to throw the ball down the field and throw those intermediate balls, but
Yep.
don't force those. Lean on your running game. That's the strength of
The
your
team.
team, and that's the strength of your offensive line. The offensive line loves setting the precedent in the run game because they can be on the attack,
Yep.
right? When you're passing all the time, you're in shotgun, the offensive linemen, they have to stand back there and get attacked.
Right.
They have to catch. Run the ball in the first half, set up those play action passes, and get after C.J. Stroud. And yeah, continue to force turnovers. I think the blueprint is similar to what they've been doing.
Yep.
If
Yep.
they stick with the plan, they're going to find a way to win. I think they're going to win by double digits.
The Texans win if.
If they dictate the terms, I'm gonna steal Nate's here. I think that if they are able to just throw the ball like they have in the past, I mean, basically all season, it's going to be trouble because they can easily. I mean, CJ Stroud's capable of 350, 400 yards, and if that's the case, it's going to be a tough day.
Yeah, the Texans win if Russell Wilson tries to outduel CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not quarterback versus quarterback. It's the Broncos versus the Texans. Whoever wins this game wins. It's not about who has the most stats. And I want Russell to remember that. And I think he will. I think he's got the right
brand now.
I think that he's got the right coaches in his corner. The messaging is clearly strong with Sean Payton. He has this entire team believing in what he's selling them. And Russell Wilson has fallen in and become just a guy on the team, which I think is exactly what Russell needs. Last year, it was Nathaniel Hackett rolling out the red carpet and bowing to Russell Wilson and saying, whatever happens on this team, it's going to be because of you, Russell. And Sean Payton hasn't said that. And I think that's what's allowed Russell to be so efficient. And so the Texans win if he forgets all of that.
Final score prediction? Because you said double digits. What's your score?
31-16.
Wow.
Oh, I had 31-13. Yeah.
Really? I was low scoring one
go.
year. I thought the defense for the Broncos was going to show up. I said 24-21 Broncos. So I'm a little bit lower. Right now, also on Bet365, just want to point out that there is a plus 370 on a Samaje Perine anytime TD score right now. I would take that.
There we go.
Go right now to Bet365. But then make sure that you come back here. We have the Broncos watch along going on right after this. And of course, we will see you for the post-game show as well. Nate Jackson, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah,
I appreciate
fun. Thank you guys.
Yeah, of
Had a
course.
good time. Yeah.
Hank, you're going to lose your voice today. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I'll be right here for another 4 hours.
All right, guys. We'll
Get
see you
comfortable.
right now here in just a little bit.
We all silly like the mayor.